Welcome, Orville Nation. Welcome, everybody. We have an amazing show for you tonight. At Gap Stargate, hello. Welcome, Gap. William Jackson, Jeff Beeler, Physio Centrum, awesome. Rapunzel. Who else is in here? Matt Ryan, everybody who is in here. Louise Sparrow. I saw several of you before. Everybody who's in here, welcome, everybody. And everybody who's watching on the replay. We have an amazing guest for you tonight. Excuse me, I have an echo I got to get rid of.
Oh, no.
All right, I'll take over hosting duties and welcome our regular panelists, Adega and meteorologist Katie, and introducing our extra special guest today, the lovely and talented Merzy Almas, who delivered one of my very favorite episodes of the series. And not only that, but she was an utter delight to work with, and she has since been incredibly busy. Like whenever I talk to her, she's always off traveling somewhere, working on a new project. What's up, Merzy?
Well, I am so happy to be back here in Toronto working, Joe. I mean, it's always such a pleasure to see you, and I do follow your Instagram because of the dogs, of course.
Yeah.
We're all here for that.
In Toronto, I was producer-director on a show called Impulse. So I was here for a longer period of time. I was here for like 6 months. And I brought my little dog, Gertie, who is a breast. And anyway, that was, so I kind of back and forth to Toronto a lot. But always, super busy and working too hard and all that stuff. So not getting to see my friend Joe, whom I love, who is.
Well, we have to get together. I think the last time I saw you, we went out for chocolate. So It's a tradition. We'll have to do that again.
Yes.
And can you tell us, can you reveal what you've been working so hard on at present?
I can tell you the title, but that's really all. And it's a show called Why the Last Man.
Based on an amazing graphic novel of the same name.
Okay.
Excellent. Really looking forward to that.
I have to check that out.
Now, Merzy has limited time with us, so I just wanted to roll into this because one of the things that I remember about this episode were the challenges, specifically the weather challenges, because when you shoot an episode, you're essentially not block shooting, but you shoot the script out of sequence because you shoot the exterior shots in one area one day and then maybe the rest another day. And we had 3 different looks for this show. There was snow, there was sunny and dry, and there was rainy and wet.
Ooh.
All in the same 5-day or 7-day period.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It was hard.
Wow.
It was a little bit hard. What we had to do was sort of pick our angles, clear them. Things like the rain really only showed up if you were backlighting it or had sunlight exposing it. So trying to hide that a little bit. Remember how cold it was, Joe?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I had never experienced that cold. Everybody had said, oh, it's going to be cold. It's winter, it's going to be cold. I'm like, cold, schmold. I'll be dragging the heater around with me saying, no, I can't leave the heater. It was so cold, but beautiful as well. And the more beautiful it was, the colder it was. But it was great. And we managed to pull it off, though, Joe, didn't we? We did a little color.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a little magic of visual effects where Lauren, our visual effects supervisor, ended up creating the beginning of a snowstorm. I think in one of these scenes right there, one of the earlier scenes, when 5 ends up leaving 3 in that beautiful scene. And it's actually, again, one of my favorite scenes in the series. And I mean, kudos to you, kudos to the actors. But I mean, you really did a fantastic job of really drawing out their performances for one of the most gut-punching exchanges in the series when he tells her to go on without him.
Oh, it is so heartbreaking. But you know what? Honestly, I didn't have to do anything except get out of the way of those actors. They were so prepared. They just did they were ready. It was so, they were just so good. Really terrific. Really, really.
I remember, I don't know how many takes you did, but Jodelle didn't cry, I think, until the last take, where Anthony really kind of let her have it. Yeah, I think you kind of went off book with the dialogue to kind of derive a kind of a more emotional response from her, and it worked.
Yeah. Sometimes if they often they stop really hearing it, and sometimes changing up the cadence of the dialogue a little bit helps the other actor to kind of re-listen, re-engage. Not that you need to do stuff like that with these guys. They're such good actors, but really they were so giving to each other and helping each other on their coverage to do their best work.
So those were real tears?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. By the way, there's the photo there, or the screen grab there. That rock is not real. We ended up moving that rock in for this particular scene or sequence.
Next, you're going to tell me the snow isn't real.
Yeah, some of it is, some of it isn't.
Yeah, some of it isn't, but some was. And the rock, yeah, that's right. Now I remember this. We needed to move it around a little bit for the track the sun, kind of march it around and for him to lean up against. It was quite hilarious. Our movable rock.
Who was it? W.C. Fields says, "Don't work with kids and animals." And he had goats and llamas in this episode.
Oh no!
I mean, you were all over the place, and then you had like the moving vehicles. You were out in the forest. You were inside with doing the, the shoot 'em up sequence, and then I mean, I love kind of the way you shot the parallel of Kirkin coming in and putting the pieces together. And you see in the 3 version, he just comes in, shoots. You don't see the B side until Kirkin comes in, which something else I love when you see kind of the guy get blown away by the shotgun.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I just want to comment really quick on Jeff's comment. Yeah, MALLOZZI has worked on Smallville, Outlander, very impressive IMDb.
100.
Oh, really? 100. Wow.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I've been really lucky, and there's some really great shows with great writing. And I'm always looking for these kind of scenes. These are the most important scenes. All the other stuff is a little bit of pyrotechnics to bring us to this moment, And it's always fun if you can try to earn these beats too. Really kind of build whatever tension we can. It's usually inherent in the script or whatever we can do to support the script to create that tension so that when we have these kind of great scenes, beautifully written character moments, we are just so ready for them, and it really tugs our heart.
So, MALLOZZI, just people are not familiar with your career trajectory. You want to take us through how you became a director?
Yeah, sure. I mean, honestly, I started as an actor way back when, and mostly doing theater and some commercials. And I was on a commercial set when I sort of, for the first time, saw the camera and saw everything behind the camera. And I said, what is happening back there? That looks really interesting. And so then I started working on commercials as a production assistant, sort of worked my way up. I eventually transitioned to TV and movies, and I worked my way up from being a production assistant through to the AD ranks to becoming a first AD, and I was a first assistant director, which is the person that kind of organizes the shoot, figures out when to shoot, what scenes, when and where, and try to create everything within a budget, and for scheduling it anyway. And then they also are the person on the set that drives the camera. and make sure all the people are and all the resources are there that you need to shoot are all there at the right times. And I was a first AD for many years, almost 20 actually. And during that time, I was also directing. So there's a bit of overlap, directing while also trying to get working as a first AD and then trying to get gigs as a director. And I think I'd done like a dozen hours of directing of dramatic television before I could actually fully just be a director.
Wow.
And now it's strictly directing. Is there anything else? We're going to do any writing, any show running?
Always noodling, Joseph. Always noodling at something, for sure. But
Joseph said, sorry, go ahead, Mercy.
On set working with actors, so I always find myself drawn back to just being with the actors.
Joseph said at the end of last week, when he was talking about this coming up week, that this was one of his favorite episodes. Did you want to elaborate on that, Joe? Why?
Joe, I mean, I like the character-driven episodes more than anything, and I just like the dynamic between 3 and 5. And you write a script, and then you hand it off to the director. And you hope for the best. I mean, you go through the script, and you have usually what's called a tone meeting, and you say, this is what I want to see in this scene and that scene, and then it's really in the director's hands, and it takes on a sort of a completely different life of its own. And watching this episode, rewatching this episode again, I was just struck by the memories of how utterly pleased I was with the finished product, because so often you're like, sometimes you're like, they didn't quite get that, or they kind of missed that, but Mirzi has terrific instincts as a director, and just clearly a great script savvy as well. And it's not to say I mean, sadly not all directors. I mean, there are a lot of really good directors who sometimes miss that connection to the script, and specifically a lot of the times those smaller character moments, and you nailed all of them in this episode, which is one of the reasons why I just it remains one of my absolute favorites.
But honestly, like really honestly, it was a beautifully written script, and I fell madly in love with both of these actors. And it's really apparent that they had chops. Both of them had big chops.
Yeah.
And both wanted to dive in here, and they were 1,000% committed right off the hop, and that was such a joyful experience for me to just come in and say, wow, this is like a beautiful scene. And I hope that the actors are going to be prepared and understand all the nuances and play the subtext and all of this stuff, and really they were ready.
Yeah.
Did Joe, did 5 seem more mature in this episode?
I mean, yes and no. Immature in that she was captured by these crazy hillbillies, and she was kind of the victim. But as often happens in the show, the seeming victim proves a lot more resourceful than you imagine, and she kind of more than holds her own. There's a fantastic scene where the guy's like, "What are you gonna do? Spoon me to death?" And whenever I watch that episode with my wife Akemi, she always cringes in that scene where you have him kind of pull this bloody spoon out of his ear.
You'd think I'd learn at this point, but I always eat my lunch when I watch Dark Matter, because I watched it the Monday of, so it's fresh in my mind. Well, I dropped that spoon so fast. It's like, oh no.
Also wonderful guest stars. All 3 of those guys were terrific.
Totally.
And by the way, Mirzi, just a great attention to detail. There was some little tidbits that, for example, when the GA officer shows up as a transfer transit, obviously without his facial hair. I thought that was a great touch.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the prep process is very. I mean, we have like a week to prep the episode, and then, about that same amount of time to shoot it. And during that week, it's like we decompress. You go through, you have your art department meetings, you have your costume meetings, and obviously I'm there to see everything, but the director, in this case, MALLOZZI, really drives those meetings. And once you hand off the script to her, she takes what's on the page, and then it's kind of like the general calling the shots to the various kind of department heads. And like I said, I just kind of love all the kind of the little touches from the Danker cabin to all this, the encounter with the Galactic Authority on the space station.
Oh yeah,
I love the eye glow. It's like, yes, attention to detail.
That was cool.
The art department was so good. They did such a great support on all of these sets, and we're always thinking, okay, here's what the text say. What's the subtext? And I was trying to find ways to support that in the shots, whether it's a camera choice, or in the angle, or something in the background, or something that helps the audience feel the oppression or the fear or whatever. But they were, all the departments were really so tremendous and supportive.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfair to make comparisons, so I won't ask you to. But a lot of us here are trying to push to have Joe eventually someone allow him to do a finish up like a miniseries or what have you to get this story finished told. Now, after working with them, would it be easy for you to step in and help him finish that?
Oh, hell yes. I would do that in a heartbeat.
That is wonderful to hear.
Joe and I just had a total affinity with one another and the project and all the cast, and I just fell madly in love with everybody, the whole thing. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I keep on saying. I learned in Stargate, life's too short, and you like to work with good people. And I went from Stargate to a production that was quite the opposite, and it was a real learning experience for me. So when I put together Dark Matter, I wanted to make sure, it was just a super positive work environment, and you just fit in so nicely. And it makes a world of difference when the people you work with are not only talented, but just generally good people. And, I'm happy to say that, MALLOZZI and I have kept in touch. We have the dog connection, kind of the chocolate connection as well. And,
the important things in life.
At some point,
That's the important thing.
Do it again.
Yes, I would love to. And we talked about that. It's like, Joe, what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm working on it. Yeah.
All of my friends, thank you. This was a great joy and an honor for me to be able to participate in this. Thanks, everybody. I loved it. This was terrific.
Thank you. It's an honor, MALLOZZI, for joining us. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a good night.
Right.
Thank you.
And Joe, we'll go for, chocolate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Bye, guys.
See you.
Bye. Thank you, MALLOZZI.
I love her energy. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
she's great.
Yeah, very.
That
good
is
energy,
one
man.
thing that most of us here, we've been educated so well about the different people that you brought on by yourself, and you could tell episode they're good, but there's ones that have a little bit of magic.
Mhm.
And when we visit the people, like with the director, you could see where that little bit of magic comes from. It's that energy and the real drive to make something wonderful. And I mean, you can look at her IMDb and see she has a heck of a history of bringing that wherever she goes.
Yep.
If you guys will permit me, I just want to catch up real quick
Yes.
on the super chats. John Burns, thank you, John Burns, for your support. Watching my 46-inch TV, saw Cape Breton Island's Ron James special show from living room last night. Even staticky, he's very funny.
Oh my gosh. I remember the old tube TV that we have in our basement. I'm going to have to watch it again. You can't watch Sunday morning cartoons without an old TV. The static adds to it.
And 3 and 5's, thank you, John Words. 3 and 5 scene has similar emotions to the scene where Aerys relieves the Hound after stealing in Game of Thrones after he fights Brain of Tarth. Interesting.
I have no idea what that means because I've never seen Game of Thrones, but
Interesting.
Hey, yeah, wait. High five.
Thank you, John Burns. And I wanna thanks for another episode with Chris Holden Reed. Love the actor. So
Chris is great.
Now, was he the guy who played the Galactic Authority baddie?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The entire time I was like, he could play like a high up in the Star Wars franchise. Like he just has the face for it.
Well, it's funny because there was one outtake where he arrests everyone in the name of the Galactic Empire, and he catches himself. He's like, "Oh, this is annually to be in the next Star Wars movie."
There you go. Mutually agreed.
I forgive me for beating a dead horse, Joe, but the fact that the transfer transit, the fact that he doesn't show up with his facial hair because he's a clone, it's the kind of thing that would have been an oversight and a different, if it wasn't for you guys. So it's much appreciated.
Yeah.
Folkenstall, thank you, Anna Folkenstall. Much love to you, beautiful people. I do want to say real quick before we progress, if you guys will permit me, Joe. And I do want to say real quick that we have a few pictures from Matt from his new dark matter gun.
Oh, excellent.
Ooh.
And I do, Anna, I do want to interview. I would like to interview you and Matt together because you guys do props and weapons and all kinds of stuff. I would like to interview you guys again together. So that I'm throwing that out there, Anna. Thank you. Let me just show really quick those pictures that Matt sent us today, and he included his lovely daughter as a helper in modeling the weaponry.
Because the ruler won't do. We need a full-size scale. Nice.
And so this is the new. Which gun is this, Joe? Is it? It's the crew gun.
Yeah, this is one of the crew guns. I think this might be. It's either
That looks like,
or Three's gun.
it also looks like the Galactic Authority was using those too.
Oh, it could be.
I love the chrome goggles.
It could be
Those are
Thor's gun, though. Now that I think of it, it looks very.
And
similar.
this is Molly, guys. So thank you, Molly, for helping out Dad and showing this off for us.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the form too. Like, dang, hardcore cosplay right there.
And we got a few more pictures. And again, guys, if it's not the this Joe is all about the fans, so we really appreciate you guys taking the time to send us these pictures.
Oh.
No.
Great picture, Molly, if you can hear us. Great picture,
Yeah.
Molly.
Amazing.
Wow. And we have a couple of close-ups of the actual of the new gun.
You give her a Five's wig and like hardcore easy cosplay right there. If she got her way with 3 and got all the guns.
And also, Matt, can you go ahead and put in your channel, because Matt has a channel, YouTube channel of how he builds these now. And if you could just share the link to the video for how you were building the crew gun, Matt. Isn't this truly the greatest form of flattery for you, Joe?
Absolutely. The fact that it would take so much time, and obviously how much work went into crafting these is absolutely amazing.
When you said the greatest form of flattery, for a second I was like, wait, is someone planning on a Joe cosplay? Because then that would be perfect.
Yes.
Pure imitation right there.
Yes.
So thank you very much, and I want to urge everybody. Please share your links. Please sub to Gap Stargate, who is doing helping us do the trailers, the teasers, and to Matt Ryan, who's building these wonderful weapons. And we're going to interview Matt and hopefully Anna again shortly. So great stuff, beautiful stuff. All righty, so we're going to jump back in the episode. And what was maybe first impressions from Katie?
Well, first impression was, okay, 5. At this point, you aren't packing. Like, come on. You carry a couple of those like little daggers that 2 gives you or something like that. You don't just go blindly running in a bazaar. But I loved how it felt relaxed. And that's how I knew something was wrong. 4 was having a nice time. Everyone was chatting and playing games. I'm just like, someone's gonna die, and then you went and did that, and I'm like, you had to do it to 3. Couldn't
you
have just
thought 3 was gonna
else.
bite it. You thought he was gonna bite it.
I seriously did. I genuinely did. At this point, and that adds to the fun of it, I think. But from the early on, I was like, oh, they're having too much fun. That's not a good sign. But it definitely, I started out smiling. I was like, oh, the sour berries and everything. I was like,
those sour berries.
People.
By the way, that's something from my playbook. I'll always do that. If I'm at like one of these spreads where, it's like a party and I eat something truly awful, I will always be like, try this. And then I'll be like, terrible, huh? So, as I often love to do, I love to bookend the episode, and usually if it's like something seemingly inconsequential, in this case it's the super sour berries that and you think at the end there's this moment where, oh, is it going to be like this reconciliation and they're going to get all soft on each other, and 5 kind of pulls the trick of putting the sour berries in his oatmeal, and you kind of establish the fact that their relationship has progressed, but it's not going to change all that much.
Now, what were those actually? Like, were they like just like sweet berries, or did you put a couple of warheads and just be like, pop those in your mouth?
They were actually okay sweet berries. I wish, it would have been funny, but I think Victoria Klein, our props master, was too kind-hearted to do that to Anthony.
Could have had bloopers.
Now, at the beginning of the episode, where they're sitting at the table, I'm just going to put up a picture of that real quick. And obviously, this is the scene that Joe was just referring to a second ago. I should put up the picture before I talk about it. At the beginning of the show, did any of you think for a second, because Rio was like really relaxed? Rio 4 was really relaxed. Did any of you think that he had maybe already looked into his past memories, because he seemed a little different?
I thought he just had a bunch of sex. We established it. He seemed relaxed. Bookended it on the end of the episode. I'm like, all right, he's just going to be more chill.
Who knows what the future holds for him?
What?
I will say this, though. If there's any episode I want to see your reaction to, it would be the ending to next week's episode.
I will record that then.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Okay. I'm assuming I ought not to eat food during that one either.
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, the number of stains that I can blame on you on my couch.
You might want to eat beforehand. Anyway.
Okay, good. Because I don't need more mozzarella, cheese, or fettuccine Alfredo.
Thank you, John Burns. Early on, what did 2 say? Girl stuff, makeup, knives, and sorry, I can't remember. But she's talking with Nixon 4. What
ammo.
did 2 say? Ammo,
She says, I think creams, ammo, and knives.
Yeah.
It's everything a girl wants.
Oh, Time Prophet's favorite episode so far. Great to hear.
Oh, cool.
I think Time Prophet is also watching it episodically, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you Time Prophet?
Another
Are you
one to
watching it?
suffer.
Yeah. Busy says this is his favorite episode so far. And then when we get into season 3 has 2 episodes that are like the 1 and 2 rated fan favorite episodes over the entire series, which is great. Like when you get that in kind of the last season. So something to look forward to. And they're kind of bonkers episodes. I think you would agree. Is a good way. Bananas is a good way to describe it. Anyways, we'll get to there.
It both works.
Yeah.
If it's the ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same ones.
So everyone knows but me.
Yes, we'll get there.
And here we see a classic distraction of that like no good characters are up to. They interrupt 3 and disconnect them from 5.
My first instinct was that 3 should have known better. But then the thing was, this guy knew how to play on 3's ego and kept him bound there. And I'm going, yep. That's how he did it. It was the testosterone thing. Get the guy pissing all over the floor. He won't turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I Joe, there's one thing that I missed, or I guess I stumbled on, was now does 3 recognize one of them? He says he recognized. Does 3 recognize one of the Danker brothers?
When?
During the at some point, or is that just, or am I like goofing up totally? I thought he said he recognized one of them.
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Okay. Am I wrong, guys? I guess. Okay, I'm wrong.
No.
I'm wrong.
You are wrong. Sorry, but I don't recall him recognizing anybody, just knowing their type.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
It's the beanie. Totally gives it away.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And the
Never
spoon
trust a beanie.
The spoon sticking out of his ear. That's also another dead giveaway.
Yeah.
I started thinking, because of my history and background, looking at that spoon and where the bloodline was, and I'm going, how close was that to hitting vital parts of the brain? And how painful that was.
Oh man. I don't know if are any of you on TikTok by any chance?
No.
There's a new trend where it's like ear doctors and they show the inside of their ears and like the operations they're doing. And that, oh my gosh, this scene reminded me too much of it. I don't know how I got on that TikTok.
My wife would love. By the way, someone asked, do I have Facebook? And I do, but the only thing I use Facebook for is I visit it once a month to repost lost dog postings. So do not come find me on Facebook. Don't bother with Instagram, really, even though I'm occasionally on Instagram. If you want to find me on Twitter or come to the blog.
Gotcha.
Toque, not beanie.
Oh.
Yes.
I stand corrected.
The hat expert, Jeff Beeler. Hatist.
Rapunzel. He wasn't using those brain cells anyway.
For Joe, where did these come from? Super sour fruit could have been ubi mochi, a Japanese preserved unripe plum. The red spiky fruit in the next bin is rambutan, a mild flavored Asian tree fruit.
Yes, I referenced rambutan in an episode of Stargate Universe, which is, I remember we were watching the episode and Brad laughing. And I was like, yeah, Joseph MALLOZZI episode. Because I always have to try to find a way to work food into episodes.
Now, the fact that Joe, you're a foodie, was there a special connection with Anthony Lemke and always wanting to eat all the time?
No, that was all Anthony. I mean, I think he mentioned when he was on the show that he always just kind of liked to enjoy to eat. Speaking of Anthony, he actually called me today as I was on my way walking to pick up some to check out this new fried chicken sandwich place. And I can't reveal anything more except to say he landed a gig as a series regular on a series. And
Yay!
For him.
he'll come up to Toronto soon to shoot. So we'll look forward to catching up with him in person.
Awesome.
Oh.
Good for you, Anthony. And good night, Molly. Thank you so much.
Good night, Molly.
Good night.
Keep rocking that camo.
And I would have remembered to get here on time, but I was working uploading it down. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to bring that up as well. We are going to be interviewing Time Prophet tomorrow, along with Fatal J. And we're going to be doing we haven't done a Talent Tuesday in a while, and we're going to be talking about Fatal J's new comic book, and we're going to be talking about Time Prophet's amazing work. Some amazing work. He showed me a little piece of H.G. Wells' work that he did, and wow, I think you guys are going to be blown away tomorrow.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so I thought it was interesting, Joe, that you go back and just like remind everybody about Nix's like special talents in this, having fun with it. I thought it was a fun scene.
Yeah.
Never play cards.
Melanie's always terrific.
I love how flustered 4 gets.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You had told us once, and I forgot. Why is it that she has to use a Western accent opposed to an English accent? Because her regular voice is amazing.
Yeah, and I wanted her to use her regular voice, but the network said that they had aired a show previously that they had canceled and hadn't done well, and it had British characters. So they assumed audiences didn't want to see British characters. So it's pretty interesting. As I kind of pointed out, it had nothing to do with the writing of the show or anything else. It had to do with specifically the fact that they had a couple of British characters on the show, and American audiences don't want to watch British characters.
That's all we want to watch.
Yes, nonsense, but
Joe, where did the Jeff asks where did the trucks come from? They looked really cool.
Yeah, those were all accessed by Ian Brock, our production designer, and we would get together in during production week in the concept meeting, and he would bring out the photos, and he's like, "These are the transport trucks I can get," and and he would also do a little bit of work on them. So I mean, they're vehicles, but maybe there's a little unusual in certain respects.
I want to remind everybody to share. You guys, we all grow together. Share your channels, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever you want to share as much as you want. You have a wrench. If you have a wrench, please use it, and please subscribe to each other. There was a lot of interesting dialogue between Android and 6. What did you guys think about that?
I love this.
She basically was like, I won't hesitate to kill you.
Right.
And just stares him down like, oh, that was a power move.
In her kind of casual way. He's like, right. Good to know. And she's like, yes, it is good to know.
I freaking love the
Yeah, I always have AI or those type of things in my mind as being cold.
Mm-hmm.
And the potential to kill is nothing to them. Because there's no emotion to it, and seeing that come out, I'm just going, yep, I like that.
By the way, everybody out there, I cannot believe, and Katie and I have to talk about this because I cannot believe she's not monetized yet. So if anybody who's not subbed to Katie, please do so right now. Stop. Don't even listen to what we're going to say next. Just go and sub.
How does it work? I mean, you have to hit a certain number.
You have to hit 1,000 subs and 4,000 viewing hours to be eligible for monetization right now. Yeah,
which should be easier because I'm starting a weekly series. Well, technically 2, but they're every other week, and we're scheduling that. Anyway, if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender or DuckTales, or if you want to get into either of them because you hate the real world, come join us. We're starting Wednesday.
Awesome. And yeah,
I'm with
very-
you though. I wanted to kind of get back to it. I thought it was magic. The scene where the Galactic Authority, and like I said, I'm always bad with names, but he was able to, because you see this in, it was the Artful Detective with Murdoch Mysteries. Early on at the beginning, he would go into a scene and you would see it play in his mind and he could figure the details out. And seeing this Galactic Authority do the same thing, seeing this happen here, putting it together, and it's basically what their mind sees. I love scenes like that. I thought she did a brilliant job of putting that together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now you wrote that to be put in there like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, you know, I always like to sort of play with kind of like kind of weird, interesting intercuts and play with time. So, for instance, you know, whenever I do the like there was the interrogation scene in when the early episodes, episode 2, and you're doing the intercut between the interrogator and the interrogatees, and kind of to save time, you have her asking the question, you know, bouncing to someone, and then basically her asking a follow-up question, then bouncing to someone else.
Right.
So it's a great way to get all the characters involved. And it's kind of the same thing I did with the scene where the android is giving them the lie detector tests. She's asking the questions, you bounce back in the answer, and you bounce back to her, and she has to follow up. It's in a different question. So this is kind of the same way. I just thought it would be fun to do something kind of different where you just see him come in and boom, 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 and you're like, oh, you don't really get to see, you know, what happens. Until, and then you kind of see it through the mind's eye of Kirkin. And it's interesting because this is the first time you get to see it, but it also speaks to his analytical mind and how he kind of pieces together the crime scene based on sort of where the bodies are lying, you know, where the bodies lie, and kind of the layout of the room.
Why he has the job that he has, you know, instead of somebody else. Do you ever have any directors or editors that have a hard time with doing scenes like that?
There are sometimes directors who will not get something. I mean, for me, the biggest thing I need directors to get are the kind of the more subtle character beats, which can be run over in the quest to sort of get a bigger scene, which is why I have a guy like Ivan on set for me. And sort of usually what Ivan is in the writer's room, he reads all the scripts. He's in the meeting with the director and I when we do what is called our tone meeting, where we go through the script, beat by beat. And I say, this is what I need for this scene. And he just kind of knows me, and he knows kind of the type of shows I write and the characters I write. So he knows what I need. And so he'll be on set to sort of get that and kind of guide the director. And Ivan also has a directing background. So, you know, he's able to communicate in that way with the director.
I have to real quick give a shout out to Philip A. Demick. He's my number 400.
Awesome.
No T-shirt, but a shout out.
Joe, I have to focus on Peggy's comment for 1 second, because there was a slightly funny moment to me when he's going through the reenactment of the crime, and I did also recall the Princess Bride scene as well.
Can you refresh me on the Princess Bride?
Remember, as Prince Humperdinck is like talking about, there was a sword fight, and there was and he's like redoing he's reworking the crime scene of what happened, and I totally saw that too, Peggy. I thought it was just
possibly. I don't recall.
I don't want you to take it the wrong way.
He defeated the giant deer and he ran off and yeah. It came up
maybe at the time. I don't know. I don't off the top of my head. I don't recall it though.
Like there was a moment when you could hear the clip dropping from the gun when he's reenacting it, and like there was just like, for me it was a slightly comedic moment, and then I started thinking about the Princess Bride.
I'll have to review.
It was funny. It was great scene.
Oh no, who is it? Tom Profits? No. Gapscar. Who is the guy? He was so good. Yes, that's Chris Holden Reed plays Inspector Kirkin.
And John Burns asked, like RDJ would see the fight before it happened in Sherlock Holmes. I'm not sure what that reference is to RDJ.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. Played Sherlock in the Sherlock movies. And yeah, I could kind of see it. It was more of a step through time than a slow-mo, but any scene where you can actually go and like look at what the character is looking at, I love piecing that together.
Mm-hmm. I never saw the Sherlock Holmes movie, so.
Oh, nice. The show's better.
Oh, wait,
Don't tell Robert Downey Jr.
Folkenstahl, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah.
She mentioned that she's working on a graphic novel. Good luck. It's that's something I definitely want to do too, is kind of get back into the comic book world at some point.
She's got a lot of skill. She's a true artist. One of these days you'll have to see it on our show here, and she's very talented.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like if you tick 3 off enough, he would like go and die.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like with the way 6 is with 5. Anyone with 5, I feel like very protected.
Yeah. And 5 certainly does bring out kind of the best in all of these characters.
That's I think probably the thing that absolutely made the episode for me was 3 and 5. I love that pairing. Like this episode finally made me accept 3.
This long.
I'm still waiting for him to screw it all up, but now I'm like, okay, fine. Okay.
Were you worried at any point that we might kill him off?
Oh, absolutely. The second that it cut away with the two of them, like, whoop, I was like, oh, if you blow his head off, I will never forgive you. But thankfully, it was just the heart area. I was worried, and then I was like, no, this wouldn't happen. You wouldn't do this again, right? And so eventually, I just kind of was like, okay, he's going to be okay. The Raza team is here. It's going to be fun.
Who knows what the future holds between now and the end of the season? 2 more episodes.
Everyone but me. Everyone but me.
You're right. Yes.
And we see them go back to the ship, and then it was an interesting episode. 2 was definitely in a different light. This episode, she was kind of in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was, like I said, you're servicing 7 different characters, and so, episode to episode, certain characters will come to the forefront. So we had kind of 2 in the forefront with her, a couple of episodes ago when she was dealing with her nanite issue. Nyx had her episode. The android had her episodes. I think it was last episode, the one, where she's dealing with Randroid. This is the 3 and 5 episode, and looks like we're gearing up for 4 episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like how it switched, because almost all of season 1, it was 5 and 6. You saw that relationship build, and there's almost not. I mean, there's a little bit, but not like it was in this season, where it's now going 5 and 3, and she's distanced herself quite a bit, of course, because of the betrayal from 6.
Yeah.
But
in my mind, it's not so much a distancing as more we're kind of seeing her connect in a kind of a different way with the rest of the crew, because she makes that instant connection with 6. And I think it's still there, but kind of as time has gone on, she's formed a kind of a more meaningful relationship with the others as well.
right.
And I just want to point out to Katie that now that the crew has fully accepted and forgiven 6, and there's all these lovey-dovey, warm, fuzzy feelings going on, what's coming up next?
Someone in there, I have a feeling, is going to cause some chaos. I think it's 4.
Or someone's going to die.
It could also be 4. I don't know. 4 seems like the exposed nerve end at the moment. He's too...
Did Joe just ask how so? Is that what you said, Joe?
Yeah. How so?
How so, Katie?
Well, I think he's going to get reckless. He might try and go and take back his whole life. and I think he's going to find something he doesn't want to know, and it's just going to drive him insane, and then he's going to get reckless, and then he's going to get... So, I don't know. I'm worried. Something's going to happen to somebody, and I'm going to have to just stare at the screen blankly and just go, oh, no. How did I not see that coming?
But you have seen it coming. You just said it.
Well, if that happens, you could just go and blow 5 out an airlock. I wouldn't know. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
It is kind of fun.
And thank you, John Burns. John Burns points out exactly. Yeah, it's after the sword fight and Princess Bride, Mandy Patinkin and Carrie Ellis. Humperdinck arrives and describes the sword fight and actually steps in the bookmarks and the footprints of the duelists. The winner went off that way. Yeah. Thanks, John Burns. Thank you, John Burns. Thank you for that very generous super chat, John. Again, John, if you have a channel or anything, just let me know.
Oh my gosh, Jeff's comment. It's so true.
Mirror Universe Joe.
You could totally be like a mere Spock. But
This is basically just, a couple of days of not trimming.
So we're both just going natural.
Yeah, that's it. Let myself go. My curly hair, I'm going to just let it.
There you go.
Thank you, Jeff. So now that we can acknowledge that we are living in the mirror universe, which probably explains COVID.
Also means one might still be alive in the other universe. So
perhaps.
Is that the reveal? I don't know at this point. It could be good. It could be bad.
And this is the. I'm sorry, I don't have it ready yet.
That's how I feel every morning during the weather. It's like, oh wait, radar is important.
And there were several great shots of him coming. I don't know. I think a lot of people enjoyed this scene. So there's a lot of great shots of him coming in. So
that was so cool. It's one of those scenes that goes by so fast that you have to really you sit and you pay attention. It locks you in. It's so hard to find shows that do that nowadays. It's all very drawn out. It's one shot, not all that interesting. And then it's like this shows up. It's like putting everything else to shame.
Now, Joe has when people. I mean, I obviously know that what you've been involved with is were very unique situations. But have you ever heard in your line of the industry of people just basically saying they have to come up with a filler show for the season?
Oh yeah, it always happens. When you're, you're facing budgetary constraints. You need to do a bottle episode. Yeah, it happens.
Is that what all those flashback episodes are? Where you go,
yeah,
they're sitting at a table and they remember all
the dreaded clip shows. Yeah, those are the cheapest of all. Like forget the bottle episode. A clip show, you save so much time because the body of much of the episode is made up of pre-existing material. So yeah.
I personally hate those, but that's just
I hate those. I had to do a few for Stargate.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
TNG Shades of Grey. Holy cow. Yeah. That was my first ever experience with a Star Trek episode I did not like at all. I love this scene so much.
I'm still amazed that was real. You shouldn't be amazed because these are all talented actors, but that you were able to have her pull those tears out. I mean, the director and everybody else, but it speaks a lot for the whole program. It just, I'm floored, because you hear them using eye drops and, coming from the doctor, a tear drops one way or drops another way or another way. It's like it's drops. Hers comes straight down. I'm just going, this is amazing.
Yep. Jodell is terrific. I mean, they're both terrific.
Joe, I meant to ask you this last week. About 10 days ago, there was conversation about what the policy was. And I think we've asked you before what the policy was if a fan wanted to do a Dark Matter fan film. I mean, from your point of view, what would the policy be?
Yeah, I mean, the rights are complicated because they rest really with the production company, Prodigy Pictures. But I mean, in my estimation, fan films and everything are fine as long as you don't monetize it. It's a way to sort of keep the show alive, and I appreciate the fan efforts.
Of course. Is there anything anybody did not like about this episode?
Mm-hmm.
Just a
The
curious.
bloody spoon. Just because it made me gag.
It's like a camping.
Well, I'm all about the weapons. I would think after, and it's not just your show, but a lot of them where I see a faster progression of firearms. Instead of using the bullets, there'd be an easier system for loading. There'd be an easier system for using it. Just my own personal mind, thinking of things like Bubba. I love Bubba because that's an energy weapon. It does its job. But I guess Babylon 5, there was an episode where he had an old revolver and they called it slug throwers. And, it was a reminiscent of things. But I always... I've been around them since I was a child, so I'm always thinking about, how come this isn't? They look cool, but personally, I would think there'd be a little bit more evolution in those than.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of intentional. I kind of wanted. I believe the Galactic Authority have essentially energy-based weapons, but I wanted our crew to be very kind of rough and tumble and rudimentary. And so that's why we gave them the projectile weapons. It's kind of like
it makes sense. It's just a personal little thing, because I'm always thinking.
Yeah.
It's interesting you guys bring that up. I heard from a couple of people that when they first looked into season 1 of Dark Matter, they said, well, why, if this is a future show, why don't they have energy weapons? And I think that's a supposition that might, it's probably incorrect because, there may be a benefit to having a projectile weapon.
There's an efficiency to them. It's not necessarily the projectile thing, because I am thinking design-wise. He's sitting there on the ground loading the thing, and anyone who's loaded a magazine like that knows that they're not exactly easy to do, especially when he's wounded, and that looked really real. He was really struggling.
And I don't think projectile weapons are going to necessarily disappear. I mean, if you look at a lot of military, the ships have energy-based weapons. I mean, plasma-based weapons, but they have rail guns. I mean, almost all of them are equipped with rail guns.
Just in case there's an EMP.
And
yeah, there you go.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just going to say I just wrote an EMP into a pitch for a series I'm actually pitching. So,
ooh, cool
to hear you bring that up.
Oh yes, call me paranoid, but I like the old sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Some people criticized actually Ronald D. Moore when he made some of the projectile weapons in the new Battlestar Galactica projectile weapons. And I think Joe's absolutely right. They won't necessarily disappear. They might evolve. But
the thing about having having projectiles in space is the kinetic energy against a ship, whether they're shielded or not, is phenomenal. So a rail gun or, the Battlestar just a repeater machine gun type thing, there's a lot of advantage because you cannot intercept that.
Yeah.
You can't shield it or anything else. So, they have their advantages. Don't get me wrong.
Anna says, I wouldn't want to have people on my ship blasting weapons, to be honest. Might damage things. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was do you guys want to mention another favorite moment of this episode? Anybody?
Well, we brought it up, but it was probably, everyone talks about that emotional scene, but again, the droid and Six, her just matter of fact, yeah, I like you, but I'll kill you.
Then I'll tell you how I'll kill you.
Right. That's how it'll be done.
I really like just the faces 3 makes with the sour berries. Like, that's acting. And it was enough that, like, just saying, oh, that's sour, and seeing his reaction, I was like, okay, now my mouth is starting to, like, have some flashbacks to childhood. Like, oh. You could feel the pain. It was, I loved it.
On a personal thing, I was rewatching this, and I tried to get my wife to watch it because she's never watched the whole thing. She watched one episode and then was off doing other things years ago, and so I started watching it again, to get caught up for this evening. And she sat down for a little bit, and goes, "I've been here for 3 minutes, and 5 people have already died." And I'm going, "Yeah, don't you love it?"
Yeah. This is my bloodlust for the week.
And this was great. I loved this.
This is a nice shot.
And that goes really well with them not having energy weapons. Like, old school, paranoia, we're going to live out the apocalypse kind of vibe.
No, but the idea of someone being able to understand the mind of a trapper or someone who is setting up decoys, he figured it out and then used that same type of logic against the people that were there. That was really intelligent. Really intelligent. I love that part.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's nice to see him not just as, like, the hothead, I'm going to blast your head off your shoulders, but, like, all right, fine. You want to play these games? Checkmate. Like, he's such a multidimensional character. And that's why I finally let down the shield, and I know I'm going to get for it, but I really liked him.
And Joe, I think, answered before that he did not give them real sour berries.
That would have been great, though.
It would have been.
Just off guard. Here, it's fine. No, we're just going to switch one out. It's fine.
Well, it's things like this. Someone had mentioned earlier. I'm trying to see. I can't remember. But they were talking about who would be the strongest or most capable out of the crew. And if it came to head-on, one-on-one right instantly, of course, 2's got them, all of them.
Exception of potentially the android.
Well, yeah, I forgot. I wasn't including the android, but in the long run, if you had time to plan things out, set traps, watch from a distance, do type of things, it would be tough to beat 3.
They all have their
right.
strength, yeah.
Also,
And
I
Joe,
feel like he would carry a grudge. So, like, he would play the long game.
Joe, there were some very creepy moments in the episode too.
Oh,
very
yeah.
emotionally challenging moments.
That was like when he was like, "I'm gonna skin her and this and this." I'm like, "Oh, bro!"
Make her into a coat.
No one would let you wear that in public. And
that to me doesn't.
Small, maybe he's more of a medium large. It doesn't.
See, that doesn't bother me as much as it would being sold. The idea of freedom being removed from anybody has always bothered me.
Yeah.
I would have kicked him all in the crotch and ran out the door.
I don't know. A deadly spoon is pretty awesome.
True. She could have done more with that spoon. Just got stuck in the eardrum.
Joe, do you want to address this question? It's an interesting question from Jeff. Could you make an all clip show? Could you make an all clip show season 4?
I don't see what the point of that would be. I mean, it would just be everything that happened in episodes seasons 1 to 3. So I would suggest watching seasons 1 to 3 and then saving whatever money you would spend on making a clip show of those episodes and use it for a miniseries. Put it towards a miniseries.
And Time Prophet asks Joe, have you ever had an actor who didn't like the food? Anybody complain about the food?
Nope, never. They usually are told, and they usually get a choice of what they like to eat. Anthony always liked rice pudding, for instance, and so he would always get rice pudding.
Yeah, I've never had rice pudding. Then that's reason enough to never have it.
There's the key to a happy crew, happy food.
Right.
Interesting, John. Han Solo novel in the 70s.
Who wrote that? Was an Alan Dean one?
I don't.
I was just asking John since he brought it up. I was wondering if it was.
I've bought like 4 novels in the past month and not even opened a front page to them. I feel, I need to start reading more novels.
Just don't buy them off of Amazon.
Yeah?
Right.
Really?
From experience, Amazon will give the publisher about 15%.
Oh. So that's where all my textbook money went.
Joe, I thought it was really interesting too that the Galactic Authority will conduct an interrogation out in the field with the drone. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a situation where, rather than sort of take all the time to bring someone back, have that strike while the iron is hot, have the ability to record it, and potentially get a confession.
They might die on the trip back.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows the legalities in the future?
That's scary to think about.
And that was really interesting too, what he was bringing up about the corporate wars were almost inevitable. And there was enough truth in that to where it was believable. It wasn't a matter of stressing him out for lying to him. It's just saying, hey, here's the facts. You can help or not.
He was honest to a certain degree and dishonest in various other ways.
And John says it might have been Alan Dean Foster. By the way, our friend Alan Dean Foster has yet to be paid by Disney.
Still.
Wow.
This is what you get, and we were talking about this the other night. This is what you get for literally telling Lucasfilm that he did not like Episode 8. I mean, I think he's really feeling it for that because he came out and said, "I don't like Episode 8." Not only that, he actually wrote an unsolicited script for Episode 9 to fix Episode 8. So,
that's a power move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but other authors have been kind of targeted or kind of suffering the same fate as he is, right?
That's true, Joe. Yeah.
Would it be possible to just send them to Galaxy's Edge and just get all the merch you want and then sell it all online and take the profit? Just be like, I'm taking this. This is my compensation, and then go and sell it. I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if that's an option, but it's an idea.
You're still rewarding the company, though, by buying their stuff at the front.
Oh, not if you steal it.
Oh.
See that? There you go.
Joe, I may have missed it, but when they keep talking about the station, what kind of station is it? Is it a what's the word?
It's almost like a way station, really, more than anything, where travelers kind of come and go and pass through on their way to, resupply or,
exactly. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. It's like an outpost, right? Out on the.
Yeah,
You had a tiki bar, instant Outpost 5.
exactly.
Basically a frontier town.
Yeah.
I always like those ideas, because when space being so vast, there's always going to be a group of people that want to be outside, do things their own way. But as time goes on, the universe gets smaller, and the train's going to run through their town eventually.
Yep.
They're like tree houses in space. They're not too far from suburbia, but they're just enough of a world apart that it's fun.
John Burns says, I posted an answer to a Dega and then I had to run to the bathroom. Did you?
I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did. Yeah. Alan, thank you, John.
The more I think about it, I have like 2 or 3 water bottles a show. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about the bathroom.
You want us to wait for you?
I'm fine.
We can talk about spoilers while you're away.
Yeah. Now I went through public school. I held it for 8 hours.
Katie, I'm curious. What did you think about the end here when 6 is telling 2 that maybe we should become intergalactic sheriffs and just be like turn over a new leaf?
See, I thought that was a brilliant way to do the whole violence, but for good. Like, it would be great with their whole personalities and everything. They're still kicking butt and taking names, but for the right reasons now. So I thought that'd be a perfect middle ground instead of just going a full mercenary or just, oh, I'm a civilian now retired on a beach. Like, I like that idea. I don't know. I'm on board with 6.
Well, there's also another huge hint, and I'm sure, I'm not speaking for you, Joe, but I was picking up that again and again and again, this corporate war is showing its potential coming in. It happened in the mirror universe. It keeps hinting at over and over. These guys are constantly at each other's throats without drawing a knife. Mm-hmm. And it's inevitably going to happen. And 2 pretty much agreed that, this is what's going to happen when 6 said, hey, you know what, let's be on the winning side, and we'll make the winning side. So I took it as more of, this is repeated foreshadowing that season 4 and 5 were probably going to be very heavily over, but I don't know.
Well, we'll see what comes of the next few episodes.
And any thoughts on the final scene, guys?
I knew it. You can't live with that temptation right there. Like the others, they have the mercy of having it been deleted. 4.
I have thoughts.
Episode. Go ahead. What are
No.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that there was a reference to the dangers of incorporating your old memories into your new memories at the end of episode 3, where they entertain the possibility, and someone, I think it was the android, basically says, or maybe it was 2, that, or maybe it was probably 5, that, the past is what makes you who you are, and having those memories could change you. In what ways? Maybe we'll find out. I don't know.
Oh, no. What if 4 doesn't die, but everyone else does?
Well, you think of 4's motivation. What's he based his motivation on? Is all of his experiences after losing his memory. When he gets his memory back, are those the same motivating factors in his life? Or will it change? Or will it intensify? I thought, was a great scene of saying, something's going to explode inside 4, but we have no idea what those memories are going to do to change his personality, although we have hints at it that he could either be a great ruler, he could be a worse criminal, or his new experiences could cause him to be more formidable member of the crew. I don't want to give anything away, but it was a big turning point.
I'm too tired to think through this.
Yeah. Give
And
me
of
several
course-
different roads to think about.
Of course, Joe shows us a couple behind the scenes pictures every time. Thank you, Joseph.
Yes.
Very, very cool stuff. And let's take a look at those.
While you're pulling those up, I did have a question. How do you make fake snow on set? I know you said it was a mix of real.
It's totally a visual effect. The snow on the ground was real, but there's that scene where after 5 leaves 3, he looks up and you see the snow starting to come down. That was a visual effect.
Okay.
So it kind of ties in later on when we actually see snow on the ground.
Okay,
Pick things
cool. Ooh. Interesting. I'll have to check that out, John Burns. Thank you very much. Yeah, for some reason I was imagining like you guys were sprinkling the rock with like Frosted Flakes painted white Brady Bunch style. Like, looked better than that. Oh, cool.
Oh yes, there's Mel on set.
Turquoise walls. Nice choice.
Do you want to take answer Reen's question really quick, Joe? How severe does the weather have to stop to be filming? To stop filming?
Pretty damn severe. I remember in Stargate shooting in rainstorms, and then having to really, use color correct to, smooth out the transitions between scenes. I mean, if it's a lightning storm, that will shut things down. So like a football game. But
it's probably for a good reason with all the gimbals and rigs.
Really cold days, it's not going to cut it. You're going to be shooting.
Tough it up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to? So this is a great picture.
Yeah, that's Melanie.
Those pants. Oh, I could not pull that off.
You don't know that.
Oh, I do.
Okay, and there's the original. What would you call it? The prototype for the rocket launcher.
Oh yeah.
One of those
And
like
this is-
Las Vegas style drink.
Yes.
Well, really?
Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Really?
Oh, that's
There's Ian Brock demonstrating.
still has the
What
straw.
would be like a lethal weapon. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh my gosh. You
That
should have
was a
kept it
really
like
good
that.
idea to have her rewire that rocket launcher. First time going through, it's like, what the heck, She trying to blow it up on her, but no, it was really smart.
So what? Rewiring it. What did she actually do?
She set it to go off, essentially.
Oh, so she didn't actually go out and fire the rocket at the Okay,
No,
good. Okay,
no.
she's not
She left the truck, and then basically the truck blew up behind them.
She's not a massive murderer. That's all good. That's all I needed to know.
And they're not. They weren't killed. They basically maybe a few had their eardrums blown out, but
Seems like her go-to.
yeah. And there's Marzi. This is one of our art department meetings where we go downstairs and they laid out all the plans for the various sets and showed us pictures of the trucks and what have you.
I'm always curious because you post these on Twitter.
So this is me. When we're in production, I always like to dress up. So I usually do the 3-piece suit, and I try to match the tie with the pocket handkerchief.
You could totally be in a mafia movie.
Thank you.
Oh my
You
God.
look amazing in that.
Yeah. Look at that. That lethal rocket launcher.
Joe, you look like a villain.
Thank you.
Totally.
That's what I was totally going for.
Like a super villain. Wow.
Oh, that is cool.
Take on Superman. That's my dream.
Alternate version Kilgrave from Marvel.
Wow, cool.
And there's Victoria. Victoria Klein is was our props master, and here she is presenting us with the drone, the communication drone. That
And we can see Joe in the drone.
taking the photo.
Now, do you have to when you have a really reflective prop? Do you have to dull it down a little bit so you don't get the reflection of the cameras?
That's a possibility, but usually it's just a matter of the shooting angle that will ensure that is not an issue.
Concept art for these, like you post those on Twitter, different scenes. You do a lot of the Stargate concept art.
Mm-hmm.
Do they sit down with you or who when they're designing sets out? That always fascinates me.
Usually I have a talk with the production designer, then he has a talk with the concept artist, and they put something together and they send it our way. And then we will have notes, they will tweak the concept. And then, through every step of the process, it goes from concept art to, construction, early construction to, various layers. When you add the textures, you add the paints. It's an ongoing process.
Well, I was just wondering how quickly these artists work between your thought process communicated to someone to where you see it on paper.
Yeah, depending on the on how big a deal it is. For instance, in the case of the bridge, that took a couple of months.
Wow.
Whereas things like the sets in this episode, you're looking at like a week to find the sets, to sort of build, like the cabin, for instance, the layout of the cabin, how they're going to dress the cabin, but that's why it's always good to have scripts far in advance so that the art department can start working on this stuff earlier, which is one of the things that I'm always a believer in, is getting stuff done as quickly as possible. Jeff Beeler says, Joe, I'm astonished that time after time people say how much they love working on Dark Matter and how much they want to do it again. I think a lot of it has to do with exactly what I'm talking about, is preparation. There's no surprises. People aren't scrambling, running around with chickens with their heads cut off there. I try to make things as easy as possible so that it's always a challenging process, but at least it's a positive and fun working environment.
Joe, Karine asked, would you ever write yourself in an episode as a cameo?
Not really. I prefer being behind the camera. I did one cameo in Stargate where I played a member of the crew in the Wormhole Extreme episode, and my line was, "Hey, what happened to all the donuts?" Which is the first line.
Joe, I saw that the other day on Sci-Fi in Spanish, and they go, "¿Dónde están los donuts?" I think that was the correct translation.
In answer to Tony Rodriguez, what was the most used set? A Raza set, absolutely, and probably the bridge specifically.
Nice.
My guess would have been the dining room / this room, that room, but I could see the bridge being it too.
That could be a close second, I think.
Mm-hmm.
One of the more expensive sets was that underbelly that really we used quite a bit in the first season, but we didn't use as much in season 2.
Oh.
But it is a scene of one hell of a knockdown, drag-out fight in season 3. That I'm not going to say more about, but it's actually one of the I think one of the best fight scenes we did. You had a lot to look forward to in season 3.
Oh, I'm so excited, but also I don't want this to end. I want this 11 season. Yeah. Oh no.
Joe will have to get started on season 4 before we get there.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can continue this uninterrupted. There's Zoe. I'm not sure what she's checking there. She's checking her phone.
So she's just holding a gun, just all right, do you want me to
and
point
there's
this
Marzi in the foreground.
Yeah, she has a script in her hand, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I did not even see the script. I thought that was her outfit. I'm either blind or tired or both. I'm not sure which.
And Time Prophet asked Joe, "Could you please buy the rights to Blake 7?"
Actually, I went after the rights to Blake 7 4 years ago, I was looking and looking and looking, and I finally tracked down the rights holders. And someone made an introduction, and I sent them an email, and they never responded in typical Hollywood fashion. So, who knows? Maybe sometime in the future. Right now, actually, I'm working on a pitch for a kind of a reimagining of another classic sci-fi series of my youth, which I can't say anything more about. But our pitch is I'm working with Paul Cornell, who's an author and comic book writer, and he does like a lot of the Doctor Who radio plays for Big Finish. And we're actually putting together a pitch as we speak, and we have the pitch April 2nd. So, we'll
cross our fingers.
Exciting, guys.
We'll see.
Send Joe your positive energy. Joe, but just out of curiosity, have you ever taken something that's in the public domain and worked with it for a pitch?
No, not really. It's not a bad idea. It's just I'm not really. It's kind of tough because that type of material is usually easy to access. So other people have already thought of it. So unless you come at it at a completely crazy, angle, it's very tough to do.
Sure.
Here's the almost finished version, where what was that? Our Vegas drinking mug has been transformed.
Very cool.
You got a lot larger. You can hold a lot of alcohol in that.
Mm-hmm. Quite the shot, yes.
New drinking game.
Every time Joe kills a character you like.
Yeah. There's our GA with their Thai riot police face shields.
That'd be a really fun, biker outfit, I feel like. Just rolling down the street in that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liking the Galactic Authority uniforms more and more. That are.
When we wrapped, I ended up bringing. I think I've got 12 Galactic Authority uniforms. So if you guys want to cosplay as Galactic Authority members at some point. Okay, this is our hair and makeup team. On location.
Looks cool.
Very cool.
Bright sun, cold weather.
Yes.
Those full-length jackets, though, saviors in winter.
There's John Stead honing his blade, old style. Just in typical John Stead fashion, he actually knows exactly what he's doing.
So is that actually just they had all that stuff just on the property, and you just
Well, no, actually,
wow.
I think a lot of the stuff they brought in for this episode, like this, I don't know what's called, the whetstone, maybe, I don't know.
It's the thingy.
The llama, the goats, the dwarf goats. And also fresh fruit that we use to dress the production as well.
Oh, so that was real.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's Gene Brophy. Mean Gene Brophy. And there are those the dwarf goats. And there was their handler.
Oh my gosh, he looks like a goat handler.
I didn't know you could put goats on a leash and they would be okay with that.
I think goats are very friendly.
Yeah.
Smart.
Too smart.
Yeah. It's Flash flashes of Mad Max.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. Who is that, Joe?
I don't remember his name.
Wow, that's a good picture. That's a great picture.
Okay, and this is John Stead demonstrating how to brain someone on Robbie David, who's our unit manager. Who I actually should get. Robbie's actually a very entertaining guy. I should actually get him to guest star at do a guest spot on one of these panels. So much to the delight of everyone in the back or everyone looking on, he's about to knock Robbie's glasses into his face.
Ooh. That isn't a. You don't just keep a real rock around.
No, I
do
think
you?
I believe that's probably a fake rock.
Okay, good. That can make meetings very fun.
Awesome, Joe. Well, those are great pictures. Wow. Any final thoughts, Katie Adega? And before I ask Joe about his final thought,
I'm kind of afraid to go forward, but I'm enjoying it. This episode, probably one of my favorites that I've seen so far, just because I stopped feeling weary about 3.
Nice.
That was a good jump. So I'm looking forward to what we have for next week, and I will definitely record that.
awesome. Dega?
I think Katie should be getting used to it by now, but the thing I like about the way this series goes is at the end of an episode, you have a conclusion of that little part of the story, but there's always something that says you gotta stay for the next. It's that little hook in the storyline that says you thought everything was settling down, but it's not. There's more coming along. And I always enjoy that, whether it be in writing, whether it be in stories or movies. And 4 did it. Put this back in my head.
Joe, Time Prophet asks, did the Galactic Authority guys stumble around because of all those?
No, because those are actually real face shields used by the Thai riot police. They're bulletproof. They're hard. And they are designed in a way that allows for them to see fairly well.
Huh. I might need to buy one of those.
And I think Joe has addressed this before, but Jeff asks, any original space adventure ideas? The Expanse is leaving the niche.
There's 2. There's an original that I've had stewing for a while that I think I might go the comic book route, just because I'm kind of frustrated with TV and the uncertainty of being able to tell the full story. And the other one is that reboot I was talking about.
Ooh.
No. And last question from the chat. Jeff Beeler asked, did you use the same location scout for all 3 seasons, Joe?
Yes. Good old Zach.
Cool.
Awesome. So, Joe, any final thoughts for?
No, I mean, like I said, this was one of my favorite episodes because of the 3-5 dynamic, and next episode actually is a really good episode, and certainly has one of the more maybe surprising conclusions to an episode. And we've had some very surprising conclusions, but this one, yeah.
Last time you said it was surprising, it ended up with 1 being dead.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think I'm going to need another, I need to make another shirt.
We killed the dog.
Yes! I almost forgot it. How could I almost forget?
I want to thank again Marizy for being here. Thank you, Joe, for inviting her. It was a treat.
Great to see her.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll have more of a chance to talk to her in the future. And thank you, Dega, Katie, Andres, Jeff, Celine, Gap, John Burns. Thank you for the super chats, Jeff, John, Kareen, at Ryan, Dee Dee Myers, Sensational Being, everybody who's been in here, Time Prophet, everybody who's been in here. Guys, tomorrow, Time Prophet and Fatal J, we're going to be interviewing them, and we're going to be seeing some really cool stuff from both of them. And I want to close out the night by sharing again that picture of from Matt and Molly. that super cosplay. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Amazing.
That is an intimidating picture.